Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I hear we're getting more snacks, so we'll have more snacks in a minute. But welcome, week 3. After today, we're officially more than halfway done with our sessions. So welcome, thanks for coming today. We are going to talk about a couple things today. So, like always, we'll do our introduction slides and our overview, and then we're going to talk about hire, and then we're going to talk a lot about onboarding. So we're going to go through the different onboarding waves. You might be seeing inbox tasks. Don't go through them yet. We're going to go through them together. So if you're seeing all those inbox tasks in your inbox, don't go through them. If you're not, we'll get that fixed for you, no problem. And then we're going to talk about correct worker start date. So a couple things on our agenda today. Before we begin, we just wanted to cover our safe harbor statement, like we have each week. Remember, things are subject to change prior to go live. I even think some of these things in onboarding, I heard there's just a little difference. They might see this before the other, or it's just small things, but we're getting a really good look at what onboarding is going to look like and what hiring is going to look like with that. Okay.
Which tenant are we looking at?
11. Yeah, make sure you're in 11. I think all the links are up to date now on the website. This is our end user training timeline. I know last week we talked about that email you got with a link to do an e-learning for Workday training. Hopefully everyone's gotten that, been able to log in. Again, don't share that, but you can go through and start working through that. It's a high-level overview and basic concepts and understanding. You can leave at any time and come back to it, so you don't have to finish it all in one sitting. You can open it up and then come back to it. Any questions about the email or the end user training that you got? Yeah.
Do we know what that is? The same layout that it will be for the faculty, right?
Yep.
They can start and finish.
Yeah. So I think October 14th, the Dean, Directors, and Change Champion Networks are going to get theirs. Staff and faculty October 21st, and then November 4th is student employees. And then our cutover timeline. You'll see this every week. Very important dates coming up. One that we called out last week, our last new e-forms will be December 6th, so make sure you remember that. But these are the important dates. It's in every deck, so you can see these. But you will be getting emails and communications about these dates as well. But you can see when go live is and all the important dates that are coming up with Workday and in transitioning. Okay, awesome. I don't think I've presented to you guys yet, but I've been here walking around, so you all know me. My name's Lauren. Yep, I was a BYU student. I'm from Davis, California. That's where I'm living currently. My husband's in law school there, so that's why we're back there, which has been super fun. And then I have Spence with me today as well. He was here last week. Yeah, Spence is here. Next week you'll have new people from Cognizant, which will be fun. And then Molly's also here. We threw her up. She might be able to answer some questions, so I wanted to give her an opportunity.
And Patty, I saw you walk in too. Good to see you as part of this group now.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So Molly's here. Yep, she can help answer questions and if we need anything. And then we have some other, we have Martin and Carl on the screen. They're not here today, but they've helped with this information.
Lauren,
Yes.
also just brought up, Martin and Carl, their photos are swapped. So the one next to me is Carl, and the one on the far right is Martin. So you probably all know that, and you've interacted with them, but just know we can swap them on the slides.
Did you fix it?
I did fix it.
It's not showing? Well, we'll fix that. Thank you. Okay, we appreciate that, so we get their names and information correct. Sorry. Okay. And then our overview slide that we've been looking at, we're kind of getting towards the end with our journey. So we started with our positions, our job requisition, we posted our job. Last week we talked about recruiting, our recruiting pipeline. We talked about offer letters. This week we're going to talk about hire. I'm going to demo that hiring, finish hiring. I think it was Captain America we used last week. We're going to finish hiring Captain America and set up onboarding for him. And then we're going to continue and talk about onboarding and all the steps that an employee takes and all the things that come to their inbox in onboarding. And you're going to get to see that yourself. Okay, we have a couple knowledge check slides like last time, and Seth did bring chocolate, so. You can, I'm going to pass out the chocolate.
Oh yeah, I
Bribe.
had to leave campus, I drove a long way.
Okay, so our first question is, how do internal candidates apply for a job? Where do they do that? Yes.
There's on the internal job site.
Yes. That's really good. Does anyone know like the application name? I can pick.
There's different ones. Career Hub.
So close. Like you get a chocolate because you're so close. Does anyone know the app
Career site.
name? It's so close to Career Hub.
Connection.
Jobs Hub. Jobs Hub.
Jobs Hub.
Like I got a whole road.
This knowledge check is open tenant, so if you had your tenant open, you
Yeah.
would have to your menu.
Yeah, go to menu, you'll see Jobs Hub. Okay, awesome. Okay, can you renegotiate a staff offer in Workday? And when do renegotiations take place?
Like within Workday?
Within Workday? No, perfect. So when do they take place if we don't do them in Workday?
Prior to the application. Preferably before the hires.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, before the comp partner's gonna create the offer and send it off to them. Did I miss anyone who wants chocolate? Okay, if I missed you, let me know. Awesome. Okay, what occurs when a candidate is moved into the ready for hire stage? There's a couple things. So the last thing we did last week is we took Captain America and we said, okay, he's ready for hire. That's what the HR ops specialist will do. What happens once we do that? Talk about a few things that happen. So it's something that Workday automatically does. What does Workday automatically do when we move them to ready for hire?
Don't they like email all the other people and say, no, you're not eligible, which is why we need to talk to them?
Yeah. So if you didn't disposition the candidate, it's going to automatically decline all other non-interviewed applicants. So it's just it'll decline them automatically. Anything else? It's close. Workday does one more other thing when you move them. So that's why you would call them. Yep. Get another one. Is clear. Close. Workday's gonna unpost something. It's gonna unpost the job. Yeah, I couldn't think of a easier hand. It's gonna unpost something. The job. So Workday's gonna automatically decline all the other applicants. It's gonna unpost the job if it hasn't been unposted yet. And then there's one more thing, which we're going to cover today. And I can let you all know, because we're going to cover today. So then, it's so close. It's almost onboarding, but we haven't actually hired them yet. So then the hire business process begins, and a task is sent to the appropriate group. So once we say, okay, they're ready for hire, that's when the hire task gets sent. We're going to talk about what areas that goes today. If it's student, it goes to somewhere. If it's staff, it goes somewhere. Faculty. We're going to talk about where that goes today, and then they will fill out the hire. That's the business process that will get sent to them, and they'll fill that out, and then they will be hired. Okay, awesome. Thanks for doing the knowledge check. We'll have more chocolate later too, if you didn't get one. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about hire. And really quick, let's just talk about the difference between hire and onboarding. So hire is the actions that an employer or manager take to prepare the employee for their first day. So for staff, the staff hiring offices, they're going to fill out the hire. They're going to make sure all the dates are correct. It's going to get sent to the benefits group, making sure that their service dates are correct. All that information. So that's what we're talking about with hire. Then once the hire process is completed, it's going to go to the manager to set up onboarding. And onboarding is everything that an employee does or the new hire to prepare themselves for the first day. So there is a distinguishment between the business processes. We have to finish the hire, And then it gets moved on to the manager and the employee for onboarding. And that's when the employee will do their I-9. They're going to enter their home and contact information. And they're going to have a series of inbox tasks, which we'll walk through today. Awesome. Does that make sense? Is it a little different than today? Yeah.
Just to clarify, as soon as the business partner or whomever clicks hire, then it goes to staff employment.
Yep. As soon as I click ready for hire, yep, then it gets routed. So
Ready for hire.
yes. Yep. So let's take a look at that. So we talked about this, and we'll take a look at where it goes to after they click ready for hire. So in ready for hire, the candidate has accepted BYU's offer. We talked about this. Workday automatically updates other jobs the candidate may have applied to, declines all the other applicants, and the job requisition is filled and recruiting is done. So we're done with recruiting now. We've selected our candidate. Then we go into hire. So when the applicant is moved to ready for hire, the hire business process begins, and this is who it's going to be sent to. So with student hires, it's going to the manager. With continuing education, it goes to the continuing education hiring office. And then with faculty hires, it's going to the faculty compensation office. And then staff compensation office, which I think is like staff hiring office. Is that how you've referred to it currently? Do you refer to it as staff hiring office? Or which group? Molly, which group would this be like today? What do you call it today? The staff compensation. Who initiates the hire? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in between kind of our staff employment office. I mean,
This is kind of a blended term, right? And we were told this by Laura last Friday. So we're referring to these hiring offices, but in Workday, I'm not like the hiring person. There's specific security roles. So we've started to switch over to some of those. So you see this is specific to the word compensation, right? So it's going to the compensation. Overall, they make up the staff hiring office, but there's different pieces that they're playing within that role, right?
right, currently it's kind of split up, and that's where some of the terminology gets a little mixed, because right now it's kind of like, well, the staff employment office is part of it, and the compensation office is part of it.
Yes.
Now it's gonna be, you know, in reality, the ops center is gonna help with I-9s. And you've got the recruiting office that helps with all of the job posting stuff. And then you've got the ops center that's gonna help with kind of the I-9s that the staff employment office used to do. And then you've got the compensation office that will help with the actual job offer information.
Yeah, and I think it's gathering truly that center of excellence, that center of expertise together, right? Because it was like faculty, right? That helped faculty. But when we're looking at these processes, they're all compensation workers, right? They're all compensation partners. So they're working together to manage the compensation of all of the university. So it's helping build those teams a little clearer. So it gets a little muddy in the middle, but we're trying to make sure the security aligns and you understand. My partner then goes to a center of expertise. And is it faculty? Is it compensation? Is it the recruiting? Is it somebody else, right? That's the partner that we're talking about.
Yeah, you just remember this is central, and you can always go look whose inbox it's sitting in. So you'll get a name, you can go see where it's at still in the archive. So you moved them to ready for hire, you'll see where it's going next and what's applicable. But yeah, this is the offices or where it is going. But with student, we'll see that it does go to manager, and we'll kind of get to see that today. Okay. All right, one more knowledge check. Okay, so the hire has been approved in Workday, which means that central hiring office has approved it. They are hired. Can the employees start working? No, I saw a bunch of no's. Yeah, they can't start working until their I-9's done. Chocolate. More. I saw a no over there. Do you want a piece? Who else said no? We gotta claim it. Anyone say no over here that wants a piece of chocolate? Okay, awesome. So, nope, they need to make sure that their I-9 form has been completed. So this might be a change. They're gonna look hired in Workday. They can log into Workday. They can access all their onboarding tasks, but it does not mean that they're ready to clock in and start working. They need to make sure that they have still completed their I-9 before they can officially start working day one. So they're able to do onboarding tasks, but they're not able to start their job.
But let me just throw in, even though you should not have them working, if you find out that an employee has done work that needs to be compensated, we do need to pay them. So don't think, oh, they didn't have their I-9 done, so we're just gonna pretend like that training we were supposed to pay for didn't happen.
Yeah.
They still need to be paid for that. So
Yeah,
even though we
thank you.
don't want them completing work before they've done the I-9, because that might end up in the late I-9 and you're getting fined and whatever, if they do work, we absolutely need to pay them.
Yeah,
So
don't make them volunteer. Thank you
so
for that
please-
clarification.
don't have them do the work, but if you find out they did work,
Okay.
make sure they're getting paid.
Okay, we have some questions over here. I think I saw you first. What's your question?
Is there gonna be a way to like pull a report of like, these are all of the people I hired that have not done their I-9 yet, and I need to follow up with them?
Yeah.
Or am I have to go in one by one?
That's a good question. She was asking, is there a way to pull up a report to see everyone who's done their I-9s yet? Are you familiar with this report, Spence? that they
I'm
can
digging
pull?
up a project.
Okay, he's digging up reports. We'll get back to him in a sec.
And then, does the employee, know what steps they need to do next?
Yes, yes. So they come in waves to their inbox. So in the first wave, it's going to be, hey, go schedule your I-9 appointment. Once they schedule it and they hit submit, then they get another one to fill out all the I-9 information, and that they can do that. I think there's an office. What's that? The student employment office. Thank you. In the Wilk, yeah. Then they can go fill that out, and it says, hey, go take this and fill it out in person. All the information. Yeah. Okay.
Just for clarification, is all the onboarding, is that only related to the I-9 or are there trainings involved in the onboarding?
So we'll take a look at all of the onboarding waves. There are other things. They're updating their personal information, their contact information. They're reviewing documents. I think some of them are like the honor code and about overtime. We'll take a look at all of those. But there's not like specific like training that you would want for your department in the
That's
onboarding.
just my concern of, at what point does that onboarding become actual work that they should be paid for?
Yes, so that is a great question. These tasks here are their initial, like setting up their Workday account, setting up all of their information so they're ready to start working. Once you go in and start assigning them like learning assignments or different things in Workday, that's when, yes, they're working, they're doing work for the job. This is their initial getting their information ready, doing their I-9 so they can start working. Yes.
And you had mentioned they get a notification. All those notifications are gonna be in Workday though. They're not emails, right?
They
So
all,
as soon as they have applied for a job, everything will be notified through.
but they should be getting emails. Do you know if BYU, yeah, the new hires should be getting emails, like, as well outside of it.
Okay, great.
Anything on the report?
So, for the report, there's a Form I-9 processing status report. And I'm just looking at the security of who can see this. You do have access to this report as an operations specialist or a business partner. It's called Form I-9 status. Okay, so you'll search for that and you can see the status of anybody you have security to see and where the document is.
Yeah, we'll pop a slide in.
Yeah.
If that's
Do you
useful
want me to pass
information.
it into a slide?
Yeah, we'll put that in a slide so it's in the slide deck for you. How you can look up, because you can go look up, like, we're gonna take a look and you can go view like an individual employee, but it'd be nice to see one place, see everyone's I-9s. Yep, okay, awesome. Awesome, and then just a slide re-emphasizing that, that BYU does not consider an employee ready for work until their I-9 is fully completed. And there are compliance fines for late I-9s, but this sounds similar to what's happened in the past. So we're just gonna take a look at how this looks in Workday, and so you can see and be familiar with it. Okay, so where we left off last week. So last week we left off by moving our candidate, who was Captain America, to ready for hire. So now we're going to hire our candidate and initiate onboarding for him. So I'm just going to finish demoing this, and then we'll move on to other activities. But for this one, you'll just watch. But before we do, let's take a look at the hire journey for staff positions. So like I mentioned, we move them to ready for hire as the operations specialist, and then it goes to staff compensation. They're going to initiate the process. They're going to verify that compensation again. Then it's going to go to a benefits partner to edit the service dates. Workday is going to automatically create their account after this and assign them a pay group. That all happens automatically. And then the HR partner, if they needed period activity pay, this is when they could manage period activity pay or add that assignment. Again, we'll talk about that next week though, but that's when that would happen in step 4. And then step 5, the manager will get an inbox task to set up a welcome message, suggest people for them to meet, set up their onboarding, and we will take a look at that when we do onboarding. So that is the flow for staff. I'm going to demo it, and then we'll talk about the flow for student and faculty and adjunct. Yep, so the staff hiring office is going to receive an inbox task. So let's go take a look at that in Workday. Okay, so I hopped in as as Molly. She can initiate this hire for Captain America. So I am going to go find it because it was from last Monday. A lot has happened since then. So I'm just searching in the search bar. I'm looking for Captain America because I know I need to hire Captain America. So I find my inbox task. So it comes as an inbox task to them to hire the employee. And a lot of the information is getting filled in for them. So we can see this is for Captain America. We have the hire date coming over from the offer, the first day of work, our reason. So they're just going to make sure all of this information is correct. Make sure the position is the correct position. That looks right. Session 1, training staff. Employee type is staff. They're working in the Crabtree. The job details and job profile come over, so everything is looking good. Taking a look at our working time, full-time, 40 hours a week, and then the service dates that came over. And they're not going to edit those. That would be the benefits partner who would edit those. Okay, so I don't have to do much. It'll let me know if I missed anything. Okay, everything looks good to me. Any questions before I click submit on what they see? It's all yes.
The workspace.
Yeah, okay.
Talking about that.
So, workspace, we were just talking about this today. The workspace is kind of where they work specifically on campus. So, their location.
It's just like we are, that room right there is 415A.
Yes.
So we're getting very specific to the workspace on campus.
Yes.
So
So,
that will be populated, like in the drop down?
so there is a drop down. Is BYU going to always be populating workspace though?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, BYU is going to be populating workspace, but I'm not sure if they're in the system yet.
The list is longer. Just try and type in Crabtree or 415 or something.
I know, let's go see. Oh, it's one word, that's why. I see, I'm not seeing the.
Try and
like CTV.
I know, I would imagine that the room numbers would pop up.
What if they're working from home?
Oh, there it
It
is.
should
Well,
say
that-
wall,
Yeah,
right?
the list is so long. It's not populated.
That's why. Okay, so this is where they would enter their workspace, like the specific room. So the location would be the building, workspace would be the specific place. Thank you. Yes, okay, so we learned together. You need to be specific. There's a lot of locations at BYU. If they're working remote, let's see if we can enter remote. I'm wondering if, let's see. I'm not sure about remote. That's something we can follow up with. If they're working remote, where would they put it in? If it'd be in location or workspace?
On the 80-20 rule, do you have more than 20% who work remote? Whoever asked that question.
20%?
No.
Just.
Do you have 20% of your population that work remote?
No, well, I
We should
have,
not.
I have 2. That's
Just
what-
2 out of it. Okay.
Out of my department.
Yeah. So I'll seek the answer for you, but
Okay.
it's one of those cases we didn't include for that reason.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, location workspace. We'll write it down. We'll go figure it out. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and click submit on this. So I didn't need to change anything. Everything was correct. All right, so they're gonna get a task to look over the compensation. The compensation has already been entered from the offer, so it's coming over. So I can see that this $19.64 is the total base pay. That's coming over from the offer. Everything looks good in this hourly plan. We've seen this before. So everything looks good here. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Awesome. All right. So I submitted that. Now let's go take a look in my archive. So I'm going to go to my inbox and then I'm going to go to archive. And this is where I can see my process history. Okay, so I'm clicking on the process tab. It was details. I'm seeing all the information for Captain America. If I click on process, I can see that is now going to Max Manager. So I know we talked about service dates here. It doesn't look like it got sent to the benefits partner. It wasn't required. So it wasn't required. And so it's going to Max Manager for the onboarding setup. So I'm going to go hop in as him. And then we'll take off from here when we jump into onboarding. Okay, so now Captain America is officially hired. That's all we had to do. Okay, awesome. Let's talk about other employee types. So we're not going to demo all of them, but we're just going to call it the differences of where it goes and kind of what the hire process looks like. So for faculty, it's going to go to the faculty compensation office. They're going to do the same thing, initiate the process, verify compensation like we just saw. Like I didn't have to change anything from it because it's all pulling over. They're just verifying it. They're doing that final check. If the service dates need to be edited, it'll go to the benefits partner. And then it goes to faculty compensation where they're going to add an academic appointment. Then the automatic workday account and pay group will be assigned automatically just like staff. Then it goes to the HR partner, same as staff, to manage period activity pay or add it. And then it goes to the chair or manager, but chair because it's faculty, to edit that welcome message and suggest people to meet. And we're going to take a look at that. It's just saying, hi, welcome to our team. I'm your manager, and it's fun. They can edit and customize it. Okay, any questions about faculty, their hire journey? Just adding that academic appointment is a little different for faculty. Okay, and then adjunct, same thing. They're ready for hire. This slide looks a little different, but then we can revise the faculty hire by faculty compensation. So it's going to go to faculty compensation again. So they're going to initiate that hire process. Same thing, the HR ops specialist or the HR partner, they'll submit their period activity pay. Then it's going to go to the chair or the manager to approve the period activity pay. So their contract or period activity pay, what they're getting paid per semester or per year. We call it period activity pay and workday. And then we have it grayed out. In the past, it's gone to the dean for another approval. It's no longer going to the dean. That is a change. It's just the chair approving it now. No longer going to the dean to approve their period activity pay. And then it does go to the faculty compensation for one more approval to approve that period activity pay. Awesome. Okay, then faculty compensation will create their contract. So again, with adjunct, they didn't get an offer letter, so they haven't signed their contract. So now they're going to get their period activity pay contract. They're going to sign it. Then they'll get the academic appointment added, or add academic appointment. And then it's going to go to the chair or manager to set up onboarding. Any questions about adjunct? Faculty in general? Yeah, just a little different. Not too different.
So essentially, once we have submitted the activity pay as an operations specialist, we don't see it or touch it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
we see, will we get an email or whatever when it's been finalized?
When it's been
or-
signed, the period activity pay. That is a great question.
Will there be any notification, I guess, that?
If you get, yeah, like that
Well,
notification bell, they've signed it. Spencer, are you familiar, let's look into this, when adjuncts sign their period activity pay contract, do the ops specialists get a notification it's been signed and completed? Because it's kind of out of their hands at that point.
Yeah, we're gonna review that on
Week 4?
the period activity.
Yeah, let's take a look. If they, yeah, next week, let's take a look if you can see it, where it goes.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, and then hire journey. We save for students. We save the easiest for last. So, a lot shorter. So, the manager is going to initiate this and verify the compensation. So, that inbox task I just saw as the hiring office, the staff hiring office, it's now going to go to the manager. So, they're going to initiate this. Workday will automatically create their account, and then it'll be the onboarding setup. I'm going to fix this slide. That's the same thing. Yeah. That's this one. Edit welcome message, suggest people to meet. Right here. Sorry, it says add or manage period activity pay. We're going to fix that. Remember, you guys are week 1. Okay, so really simple with students. So the manager initiates it. The managers, once they've been moved to ready for hire, the manager is going to take care of all of that on their end.
Can I ask a
Yes,
question
please.
just about that?
Any questions?
I know that they can set up proxy, or not proxy, delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Can the delegate hire for them?
That is a great question that I do not have the answer to today. Can a delegate hire, like initiate the hire process for students? I think that's something we need to get the final answer on from leadership, how that's going to work and how delegation will work.
I will look to see if the hire process is included in the delegation. Most processes are.
Yes, I'm not. I think we need to get like policy questions answered on that,
Yeah,
which we
that's
have.
a specific policy.
Yes.
It will be marked if you are assigned as the delegate. It will say, you know, Lauren, on behalf of Spence, hired such person. And those will be reported on at the beginning of Workday's go live often, because many people will try and delegate their entire task list,
Mhm.
right? So they will be checking to see, hey, why are you delegating compensation? Are you delegating? Because when you delegate that, you also assume the security of whatever that delegate has,
Mhm.
which we don't want.
Yeah, and with delegation, I'm imagining there's going to be like announcements and policy about the policy and procedures and how it works.
I'll
We should
check this
have all of
past, this is
those
available for
answers, yeah.
delegation.
I wish we did. You're not the only
I'll
one.
say this is available for delegation.
Yes.
The ops specialist can hire anyone in their organization. Hire for, right?
Yes, you can initiate it and do all the interviewing, and then when it gets to the hire step, it depends on who it goes to. That you move them to ready for hire as ops specialist, and then who it goes to. Now we're going to talk about direct hire in a second. If you're direct hiring students,
specifically.
if you know the students,
Uh-huh.
then you would just direct hire them, and we're going to
Specialists can do that.
for anyone that you support, and we're going to all do that together. It's our first activity. This is just for recruiting. Yeah, just for recruiting on student positions. You move them to ready for hire because you already did your interview and everything. You posted the job. Then it goes to the manager.
One other question on student hiring. Do you have to have a job posted? You have to, or do you?
No,
You don't? Okay.
no, you don't. Yep, you just have to have an open seat or open chair, open position, open position for them. You can direct hire a student into it, and we're all going to do that today. We have an open student position already staged for y'all, and we know the student. We're going to grab them from a list. We're going to hire them, or we know their name. You know what I mean? From the list. We're going to grab them from a list today. And then this is when you don't know who you're going to hire. You need to post the job, recruit for them. That's how this process works. Mhm.
All of the hire processes are currently enabled for delegation.
So if a student has to do their I-9 and a delegate did the hire, are they going to be able to see if the I-9 is complete?
As like an ops specialist, you're asking? Yeah, you should be able to run that report we talked about.
But as a delegate,
You mean will the manager be able to?
yes.
Will the manager be able to?
Mhm.
Not an HR staff.
Yeah, the manager will be able to see. If their item is complete, yes. Okay, so let's talk about one more thing before we kind of jump into direct hire and then onboarding. So we're going to talk about a task called Move Workers Supervisory. And the business partner and the ops specialist can initiate this task. Basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to move your seats around your supervisory organizations. So the business partner and the operations specialists are going to work together to manage where open positions are in their organizations, and you'll initiate it with this task. The reason why we bring this up is because we have heard like managers can just hire or into an open position that they have for students. How do we manage that instead of them just going in and hiring? Because we are giving them the power to do so, to go in and hire students as they need. What about department budgets? What about this? This is how you would manage it. If you don't have the budget or you need to move a position out so they can't just go and hire someone into it, you can manage where your open positions and seats are with this. And so this is something that you'd use based on your needs at the department. If that's not a problem and your positions are fine and you're fine leaving them open, they can stay there. But if you need to move positions around and kind of control where open seats are, you would use the Move Workers Supervisory task.
Is there like a home bucket at all for like this type of position where like you can move it to the department level and then allocate as needed? Let's say that you have 50 student appointment slots and you've got, you know, like all 50 in the semester are allocated. But then at the end of the semester, you know that there's 10 students that will be leaving. We don't want to leave those open
underneath the managers.
Underneath the specific manager. Can we pull them back to like a department level and then as a need comes in, allocate those back to whichever individual that they need to go to?
Yeah, if you have the security, which you should, to pull them to like a higher level, you can move them up into one specific organization. So then all 10 or 50 seats sit under one person, and then you can allocate them back out depending on the needs. So yeah, if one manager needs 2 employees this semester and this one just needs 1, you can move them as needed. So that gives you a little bit of control in that sense. But yeah, I think the messaging though is work with your business partner on this. I think they're the ones that are kind of going to be owning this, and work with them as an ops specialist to manage where open positions are and how you're going to handle it in your department. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's talk about hiring a student, direct hire student. I know we've had a lot of questions. Now we finally get to see it. It's pretty easy. So super simple. It'll be a great thing in Workday to quickly hire a student when you know the student. We know at the beginning of the semester we need to get the student hired super fast. It's going to be a really easy solution to those problems, getting the students hired. This can be done by the operations specialist or the manager, depending on the need. So that's why we brought up that slide before, to make sure you knew that you can allocate or move those chairs, because the managers can just direct hire as needed. So let's talk about the process. We have a couple slides and then we are all going to do it together. I'm going to demo it and then there's an activity on it. When I demo, I'll just demo first. We kind of got to assign out where the positions are in those open seats. They might not be, I know a lot of you support a lot of orgs, so they might be hiding from you. Okay, so with direct hire student, the first thing is you're going to search for the hire student. It's a report, actually, hire student report. We'll take a look at it in Workday. That's a little confusing. It doesn't say task, it says report. And that's because we're going to search for our student. We're searching for the student. You can search by the student ID. So you're like, I have a student with multiple names. In this field, you can search by the student ID to make sure you're hiring the correct student. They might not have a picture in there if they're not a student worker yet. So you can search by the student ID in this field, but you cannot search by the net ID. Net ID does not work. Student ID does work. The second thing is you're going to select the student and the supervisory organization. So student, that's where you'll enter in the student ID right here. And then with supervisory organization, the easiest way to search for supervisory organization is by the manager's name of the supervisory organization. So I know I want it to be hired in a Max Managers organization. I would just type Max Manager, it'd pop up. So the organizations you support, you can test out today. Hey, can I hire into this organization? Yep, type in that manager's name, see if they pop up, see if you support them. You should have the security access for all of the organizations you support to hire direct hire students if they have an open chair under them. All right, then you're gonna review the student details. So this report's gonna pull a little bit of information about the student. You're gonna confirm the student ID, their academic level, and their academic unit.
And this is why it's considered a report, right? Because when you search for the student, it's going to bring up these details. It's not taking you straight into the task. One reason is to confirm this is the right person. And the second is then to enable you to push the hire, which teaches you the task.
Yep.
So that's why it came up as a report and not an action.
On this report as well, it's going to tell you if they're work study eligible. So you're going to check that. If they're not, that's maybe a good time to check with the student about their credit hours, about their student record. Is there something they need to fix to make sure they are work study eligible? So if they're not, though.
How does use this terminology of work study? It does not do work study.
It's based on the number of credit hours and some other information that's feeding over from the student system. It's fairly complicated, but what we were told last Friday when we were reviewing this course was these details are helpful for you to know, but it's really to open a conversation. Can you tell me more about the hours that you're working? And it's basing that off of some of those minimum qualifications.
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to get stuck in the student hiring office because they don't have enough credit hours to work, or maybe their visa isn't set up so they can work. Like there's some sort of eligibility problem. So if it says no, you can ask them, say, do you have enough credit hours? Are you an enrolled
This is really
student?
employment eligibility, not work study eligibility.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's employment eligibility. That might be the word. Yeah.
It's a YN value, there's not a maybe, so
Yeah.
you have a yes or a no here, and you just want to follow up, hey, are you on a work visa or a student visa? Or do you have a minimum number of hours that are required for student hiring, things like that. And if they say yes to all those and it says no, then fine, send it off to the hiring office, but just know that it's
It might get slowed
potential
down.
It'll slow down or get.
And the academic unit that it's showing is whatever their major is that correct?
I would need to double check with academic unit. We can look into that, what it's showing.
I'll look for Jada.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. If you see no, it doesn't mean you can't move forward and start the hire process. You can. They just might get stuck in a later phase before they're officially hired to make sure they are eligible to work. Sorry.
So I noticed that on this, it doesn't show anything about their I-9. They already haven't, like right now, we have the ability to see, is their I-9 okay or not? So this doesn't show anything on that, whether or not we need to tell them to schedule an appointment with student planning.
Like if they're
Because that's an employee, not a student.
No,
So you were
for
just,
both. It's for students as well.
here, let me clarify. The report we're searching for is their student record. That person, if they have an I-9, is not a student, they are a student worker. So they are a
So then you would
different
just-
classification.
You wouldn't
just
direct
look at that.
hire them. Yeah. You would change their job.
You would need to change a job and do it differently. Or you would need to go through recruiting through a job requisition or multiple jobs. But you would not be using direct hire student for that.
But what if they're still staying, so students can have 3 jobs on campus.
Uh-huh.
So if they're staying in an existing job that they have, and we're just hiring them in a new position.
That's add job.
Which we'll cover next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So that might be a use case for a lot of you. If you want to hire a student who already has a job, you would just add
And will they
job,
not
change
show
their
up here if
job.
they already have a job then?
They will still show up here as that report, but you were looking for I-9 specific information, which would be on their employee record, not their student record.
Okay,
So this is finding student records.
so how will we know if they have a job already on campus?
You would search for them to see, if you type their name, it would show them as working and where they work. If it's a student, it's just their name.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Question over here?
So just trying to be clear, I know you said it's gonna be next week, but when we go in to hire a student, we're gonna use this, but if they haven't had another job, is this going to tell us that so those can be switched to the other system that you said we have to use actually?
This is if you want to hire a student, you know the student, they're in front of you,
Yep.
you don't need to use a job rec, you don't need any other version of an application, you're just hiring them right on the spot, that version, and you would use this task. Right? If you are doing any other version, meaning they needed to apply, they need to be interviewed, they need to walk through any other stuff, you would be going through the other
Or
process
you were
of that
changing
process.
their current job.
Or you're choosing them.
You're changing
But I
their
don't want
current
to change
job.
the current job, I just want to hire on a second position.
Hire them on a second position though? It would add the add job.
Yeah, it would be add job, and
That
let's
makes sense.
push this through today. I'm gonna go through the hire to see for an already student worker, if it will allow me to direct hire them, or if it would kick me over to add job.
And what they want.
Yeah, let's play through that.
Can you repeat that a little bit? We couldn't really hear.
Oh, yeah, we can, yes, we can repeat that. So this is for a student who doesn't currently have a job. You didn't need to interview or have them apply, you just direct hire them. You would pull their student ID and you would direct hire them from here. If they currently have a job and you want them to have a second job, that's different, it's add job. If they currently have a job and you're just changing their job, that's a new task. We're gonna look into whether or not BYU wants you to use direct hire or change job, which we're gonna cover next week. Because you can just change their job in Workday, or whether or not maybe they're gonna get terminated from that other job and then rehired here. You know what I mean? So changing their job, it just kind of depends if they're an active employee. Yeah, I know there's a lot of like caveats with students because they have a job and they're moving jobs and they have a second job.
Yeah.
So these are great questions, and we can talk about this more next week. Okay, so that's clear kind of who our persona is right now. Student doesn't have a job, we know who they are and we're gonna hire them. Okay, so the HR operations specialist or manager would fill in the hire details, like the hire date. This is the expected hire date, so it is important to try to get it right, try to figure out when they're gonna start working, otherwise we're gonna have to change their start date, which we don't want to do. We're going to enter in their first day of work. And then,
Sorry, I just
No, it's
have
fine.
another
Question.
question. So oftentimes, we don't know how long the I-9 process is going to take.
mhm,
So in the past with e-forms and whatnot, they've said, just go ahead and put tomorrow as the start date, like as the hire date. And then they'll adjust as needed. But is that kind of the same rule of thumb here? Like, you want to give it like 24 hours and then, because otherwise, like, unless there's like usually these student employees are starting as soon as possible,
mhm.
not like, oh, we're going to start you a week from today.
Once they get their I-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, and I recognize this is a change. You can correct their start date and update it. We're going to cover that today. But I think they're asking that you put in your best accurate
I don't think we have a way to know.
yeah,
I mean,
of when they're
And
starting.
historically speaking with
Mhm.
student
With
employment.
students, they have a way to know when their
I know.
hire date is.
And the hire date doesn't trigger a bunch of other things. Like, they're not gonna instantly get a $5,000 paycheck. You know what I mean?
No.
So that's the difference. Benefits don't start, all these things aren't happening. So we want to get the start date as right as possible and correct it if it's different.
And yep, and
But
correct.
you know that they can't work until they finish their I-9, right? So we can go correct the
So
worker
we-
start date, once the I-9's complete.
So we can go in after the fact and change their hire date
Mhm.
based on like
Yeah.
when their I-9.
We're gonna do that at the end. Yeah, you can go in and change it, but yeah, hopefully try to get the best one. But yeah, it's hard.
Why does that matter?
Their hire date.
Yeah.
Getting the specific one. That's
Yeah. We are trying to track it for I-9 exactly for that reason, so that we have compliance reporting.
Mhm.
And we do want to know when the hire date is started. Also for tenure and other things, right? I'm sorry, for continuous service days.
Yeah, for
So
continuous
you
service
get-
days.
For just a student employee, how critical is that to have a state their I-90?
I believe it's critical.
That's
that
the target, right?
That's the goal.
So we would need to update it, because once their I-9's done, then they can start, so on and so forth.
yeah, they want the start date.
So
to be
the
correct.
federal requirements within 3 business days of the start date, so if it's past that, it'll be out of compliance and out
So why ask for both if they're supposed to be the same?
They're not the same. The I-9 date is different from the start date.
It should be completed before they start. It has to be
Yeah,
completed
but
within
the
3
I-9
days.
office will not do the paperwork unless their hire date has passed.
Oh, that's a change. So
Okay,
let me
can you
follow
just say that
up
louder?
specifically, but
Yeah, she was.
They're like, oh, but you're not, maybe they won't do the paperwork.
She was saying the I-9 office won't do their paperwork if the hire date is before. So she's wondering to get the hire date correct.
because remember, you're thinking of hire date in a PeopleSoft way, which you keyed in the way that you did it. But now we're moving to, you want the date that they are supposed to start. If that's tomorrow, it's tomorrow, right? and then the other processes continue. The I-9 gets sent ahead of their start date, that task is delivered ahead of their start date, the office gets it before their start date, it's not a form you're submitting, right? So it's just different how it's looking. So let's clarify this.
Yeah, we'll clarify this.
Because I know Lori's very interested in this.
Yes, I know there are some changes here, so. Okay. Then they're gonna review the hire details. The job profile will populate based on the position details, as well as the job title, the business title, and time type. But this is where you could go in and update their business title and job title to their specifics, so it's not all student worker one. So you can go put in their specific title. And then service dates. Our call out here is that you're not going to edit the service dates. You're going to leave these alone. As a HR operations specialist and manager, you are going to leave the service dates blank. Service dates blank, or as they are, as they're populating over, so you will not edit the service dates for students. Alrighty. Okay.
I have an answer for your direct hire question. Do you want to show it now or do you want to wait?
Let's show now.
Okay.
Go for it.
So let me hop into your tent for a second. So, you guys are asking all the tough questions and I appreciate it, I do. Yes. It might look like I don't. Okay. So if I'm in here as the chair, would they be able to hire student?
Yeah.
Okay. If I pull up this report and I'm looking for Olivia Shepard, right? I know she currently has a position. So I know going in, that's what it looks like. Workday knows too. Okay. So here's the information. Oh, this person is already a student worker. Here's where they work. Here's what they do. Here's how many scheduled weekly hours they have. If they were eligible for additional hours or you had the security to hire this student, you would see add job, right? So you'd be seeing add job. Max Manager does not have the security to hire this student. So Max cannot. I was logged into somebody else, Harper HR, and they had add job. So an ops specialist would be required or a partner to add the job, not the manager. So the manager can't do that direct hire.
Question, with the whole like available hours thing, because international has different levels, they say graduate student, is that going to be correct in Workday per the student? So if it's an international student, will the hours they have available reflect on this person?
Yeah, so this is how many hours they're working this job, which is why when we went through that recruiting process, the requisition process, the hire process, it's important you get that number correct for this student. Because the next person who looks like you, they're not going to see if your 20 is right or maybe it's 10. They're going to go off of whatever it says in the system based on what they were hiring to do.
Do we have the ability to fix that if we mess it up when we hire them?
Yeah,
Can
100%.
edit their hours?
You can edit their scheduled weekly hours.
So you said a manager does not have the ability to hire someone if they already have another position. But do you have the ability to hire a person if they don't have any other positions?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's go back to hire student with him for just a moment. And let's pick a different name. There's something in security that's preventing Max specifically from hiring the student. So I'm seeing it for this person who does not have a job. But what Workday is saying is if they have a current job, you need to talk to your HR operations specialist to get this hired. So you would need to work with this hiring.
Is there a reason that they would have to talk to the business partner or the operations specialist?
Because they don't have security. So
Why don't they have security? They have security to hire a student, right?
but not a student who already has a job. Probably for this reason. I can follow up and ask why they chose it. Workday didn't choose it for you.
Only the nerd marketing here, or
No, they're not.
probably okay.
Just Molly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the student's already working, let's say they have estimated hours, they're working 20 hours a week, we want to hire them. Do we have to talk to their current manager to see if they'll adjust their hours?
Correct. Well, how do you handle that today? Let me reverse the question back to you.
We don't talk to their other.
You just
managers.
shove it
We
in
tell
and hope
students
10 and
you have
10?
to stay below 20 hours.
The
this is
students
what you're
manage it
expected.
between their jobs
Yeah.
and stay under 20. Because sometimes one job might require a project and have more, and then another
18
job
and
might
2,
only
and then
be
15 and
that week, but
5.
then-
Yeah,
Sure.
so the students manage that, so I guess it will still let us hire them if it's at 20 hours.
Mhm.
They'll just have to figure that out and have the other manager adjust their hours? Or
Yep.
can it have one job is expected 20 hours a week and my job is expected 10 hours a week? And will that cause a concern in the system or?
Yeah,
is
this
that
isn't
something
going
we
to
can
put an,
enforce?
this isn't gonna put an error, it's gonna put the number forward, right? So you need to have that conversation because the student's saying, oh yeah, I only work, 5 to 10 hours, I don't know why it has 20 on there. But you call the manager and they're like, no, it's 20 regularly. So Workday does not replace the conversation that needs to happen. If you don't wanna have the conversation, fine,
I don't think
take
we
their
have
word for it.
conversations right now.
right?
So,
So take their word for it, 10 scheduled weekly hours, it says 20, but it's really 10. So push through the hire and they'll have to figure it out. But if they exceed, what happens if they go over their 20? Does someone stop by and they're like cut from BYU, they go home? Like, what occurs today?
We get an email.
You get a report, right? And it's all based on payroll. So this number is helping you determine how many FTE you have in your department, some other things, right? So that's where that kind of flows through to, and reporting.
The
So-
other thing to consider there too is those hours could be based, like, especially if it's like a higher amount, could be based off their summer employment, which isn't what it is currently.
Yeah. So these are all markers in the system to help us. When we say, pull a report of any students who are scheduled over 20 hours, we would get that number and it would reflect that this person's working over 20 hours and they shouldn't. And then you could sort that out and in an audit.
is that a report we can pull
Yeah.
through Workday?
You can report on anything, but it is not a standard delivered report.
Okay. Wait,
We haven't talked about reports
can you
yet.
speak a little, it's not a standard delivered report,
Workday delivers 1,000 reports. That report is not a standard delivery.
so that's not one that we'll get through BYU's Workday, but we could somehow still get that report?
If you have a common use case, the reporting workstream will take report requests and create them custom for your use case.
Okay, I guess I'm still not understanding.
Yeah.
I could say Workday, I want this report.
You are not a
and-
report writer, so you cannot write a report yourself in Workday.
But can I request a report?
You can request a report from the
And it will come to me. So I
reporting workstream. Mhm.
You're using terminology that I'm not completely 100% sure on.
There's somebody in this hall who works with reporting who's built out all of the custom reports that BYU leverages, right? So they have had a list that's been generated, and on their list, it is not included to have a report for who exceeds reporting hours over 20 for students. It's not been created today,
Okay,
right? So if you wanted this custom report, they would take it as a request. They would vet whether or not they need to create it, and then they would create it and let you know what it is, and give you
Okay.
the security.
Where do you
So-
put in that request?
I need to talk to whoever the BYU person is in charge of reports and say, hey, I want this report, and then they'll handle that, and then we'll start getting the report.
At Go Live. Your request today
No.
sounds like something that's interesting that we need to know, but the report generation gathering time has occurred. All of your departments,
Right,
they've all gathered all these requirements. So once we go live, you could submit saying, this is something that I do need, and I would like to have this report created. And you would work through that process.
I think I understand
Yes. Someone has to key the keys, and you have to get them to key the keys for you. Got it. Okay, so are we a little clearer on this process? Not everybody can hire anybody from anywhere. And it looks to be, and I'll chase this down further, if you need to add a job, that's why we're talking about it next week. So you're a little early. We'll talk about what the requirements are to add job and who can do it and why.
And we'll focus on students.
And we'll focus on a direct hire of someone who doesn't already have a job right now. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for this.
Yeah, no, thanks. These are great questions. Okay, so I think we're about to hop in for a demo, and Spence kind of started it, but not all the way. So we'll walk through it all the way. So I'm gonna demonstrate direct hiring a student in Workday. You're just gonna watch me, and then we're gonna have time for the activity for you guys to practice because our positions are in other supervisory organizations we created for you. So we're gonna walk around the room and tell you where it is. We're gonna help you find the student's name that you're gonna hire, everything like that. So just for now, just watch me and then you guys will have an opportunity. And I'm gonna Workday. Okay. So I am logged in as Max Manager. So I'm going to go find a student without a current job. That's what we're working with today. So I don't know who that student is today. If you know a student's name without a current job, you can try that. But I'm going to go find a student. And I'm just going to show you how to do this. So in activity, you've seen it. In real life, you know the student's name. Okay, so I'm going to type in the search bar for this report. This is a report that's already been created. So I have this report, find external students. So that's kind of what Spence was talking about. Our reporting team has already created this report for me. Super nice. I'm going to go find external students, which means I'm finding students who do not have a job in Workday, or do not have a job at BYU who are not in Workday as a student worker. So I think in the activity guide we said you're going to just filter down by your academic unit. I think we have some Merit School business people here. Nice. That's my favorite. While this is loading. So my last name's Marriott. I did graduate from the Merit School of Business. I got married. I was like, I'm not changing my last name yet until I still haven't changed it. But I was like, I'm not changing it. I kept saying until I walk across the stage. I thought I was gonna be the only one. I was not the only one. There was like 4 other Marriotts, and I was like, oh, a lot of Marriotts here. But I did get to walk across the stage. It was cool. Okay. So I filtered it down by my academic unit, and then we need to go say if it's an active student or not. We're gonna say false. We don't want active students. Sorry, is worker. I'm looking at the wrong one. We want it to be true as active student, but is worker, we want it to be false. Sorry about that. So yeah, we don't want them to be a worker, so is false. And this is going to give me all of the students in the Merit School of Business who don't currently have a job, and I can tell because they don't have a profile picture. If they have a profile picture, they're probably a student worker right now. So I'm going to go select someone from this list. I'm just showing you how to find this for our activity. There's another Lauren. I'm going to choose Lauren Miller. I'm going to write that down. So write down your student's name or remember it from this report that we're going to pull. And then this is where we're going to go type hire student into the search bar like Spence did. So we're going to type in hire student. We're going to pull open this report. To initiate this, I'm going to type in my student's name that I found, Lauren Miller. Oopsies. Okay, so this is where there's 2 Lauren Millers. This is where you can enter their ID. This is a good example. Enter their student ID so you can make sure you have the right student. For today, I'm just going to select one of them because either one works for me. Okay?
Can we use the student ID?
Yeah.
Search just for the student ID?
Yeah. So that's how you can just search just for the student ID there, but not net ID. Yeah. So you would just search for their student ID to make sure you got the right one. And then you would select the supervisory organization. So this is where you're going to enter. We're going to give you a name of a manager of an organization you support. This is where you'll enter that manager's name. So if you got assigned Max Manager, which none of you will, I did, I would enter Max Manager here or whatever the name of the manager is because you're hiring into a different org than yours. Okay? If you were hiring into yours, you would leave yourself selected into your supervisor organization. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Perfect. Okay, so I think I did pick the right Lauren. I can see her academic unit is the Merit School of Business. I can see her student ID here and some important information. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Hire from here. I verified this is the right student. If you're not seeing the Hire button, you may have selected a student with a current job. That's what we talked about. You cannot hire them. All right, I'm going to go enter in the hire date. So I'm going to go enter in next Monday for the hire date. This is when you're going to try to put in your best understanding of when they're going to actually be hired, and their first day of work is going to auto-populate from the hire date. I'm going to enter in a reason. So I clicked on hire employee. I'm filling a vacancy here. If it was rehire, you could select rehire. This is just a reporting field. It won't change anything. For my position, this is where you got to make sure you select that right manager, because I need a position with an open seat. So I'm going to select positions without job requisitions because we did not create a job requisition for it. And I have a couple of open positions. Okay, I'm going to select this one, student direct hire, worker 1. Perfect, my employee type, my location of general campus is coming in. We could change this and specify where it would be if you wanted to. This is just coming over from the position itself. My job profile is coming over, food service lead 1. That doesn't really make sense for the school business. That's okay. Working type is part-time. Scheduled weekly hours is 20. That's all coming over. And then I can't even edit the service dates. Great, so you won't worry about those. As the manager, I cannot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Any questions before I click submit? Okay, awesome. Okay, so the next thing it's going to do is have me change organization assignments. I can X out of this or I can open it from here. We've seen change organization assignments before, but we're going to have you guys do that first part, direct hire student, as an activity, and then we'll have you do the change org assignments. We'll talk about it really fast, go through some slides. So we're just kind of breaking it up. So the first one you're going to do is activity 3.1. We have the lists. We have a student here to help us call that out. So we're going to give you the manager's name, but you guys can start working on finding that student you want to hire, unless you know someone.
This should be by.
Just start on this side and I'll go on this side. Okay.
Yeah, I'll come over and make sure. Okay.
I just looked up. Well, I know, but are you playing for me right now?
No. Right there. So you're gonna be looking at the first.
We need to write it down.
I got it.
As the, so you would go back.
Yes.
Yes. Otherwise, you'll be able to sign up for the position. It's gonna let you get to that point, it says, where's the open chair? And then he's like, oh, I don't have one.
Yeah.
That's why I got to go to everybody. Yes.
We would get spam.
Oh, so we had it.
That one.
Keep looking.
There you go. So you're looking for a house on the it's probably for the student.
Julie. You kind of.
Yeah. She got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, you got it.
That's the unfilled position. No. In Stephen's order. Yeah. It doesn't have it's in your organization. So you are a manager, right? So you're ready for your
No, I didn't like
Yes. You are a manager, so our unfilled position is in your organization.
You would know their name.
Would you have a use case in which you guys are
And I didn't have a seat some students.
Doesn't support the support person. Look to see if they have
All these things
Can you tell me now?
because you selected a different word. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's okay. And then when you go to position.
You can change this.
Do you already know yours? You already found one?
No, well, actually.
What's your first name? I'm seeing all these things that aren't on here. Ashley, what was your last name? It makes you complete the position. Once you click it, you have to click that.
No, I get
There it is. Okay. As long as no one else is going to sign that, there should be. Go to my own and then go to yours. Everyone's treated. This is
Don't have
you can't direct hire. Okay, did you know, they already told you?
No, they said he's not, I just think that.
You're just going, what's your first name? The student's fine to pick whoever you want.
I'll let you know, but I don't have this.
You don't have that unfilled student. Kim Clark, under Kim Clark, there's an open position.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I need to look at yours.
Okay. Did I get it? Oh, I got it. EIS. Just enter. You just need 2 characters.
But it won't auto start.
Oh, so then I just write it on.
Only in that top section. Okay.
You get everyone. I think some more people over here.
You know which side you started on?
I don't have. Yeah, you're supposed to find
Okay.
Ah, there it is. Okay, under Kurt.
Oh.
That is really, really is.
Actually, do you want to come in Workday? Here next to been my supervisor, or my, it's my supervisor, yeah, my supervisor, sorry.
When you scroll down halfway.
So if you find one of these that's in HR, you can do it, so you can do change stats. Very good.
I have this, I have it. But I don't have
I'm fine.
I just don't have, I have two spots,
Oh,
but I don't.
okay. Might do it.
Are you not finding one?
I don't have an open door, but I'm not on.
So you're not on the list? We have someone else who wasn't on the list as well. What department are you in?
Information.
Do you know anyone in your department that's not here?
If you click on it.
We'll go still there.
No.
Oh, so you're again, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
We have a couple people missing. You're missing.
Yeah, there's like 3, Elsa and.
She's on Spencer's list.
Elsa and Bonnie. Those are the 3. Oh, and Nancy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I have
I know.
I have a question.
Yes. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna just stage it so someone else can do the activity, and then I will be right there.
Hey. Where's Ashley? Are you listed as a different job? You've had access to this sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't, just got my access.
She got it this morning. She
Oh,
was
yes,
with us.
okay,
Because
that's
we were
what's
having
going
problems,
on.
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, you
something's
might not have
funny
been on the
here.
list.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we knew we were like, we're not gonna be able to get everyone. That's why you guys have 15 minutes.
But I have a lot. I'll go ahead.
So this doesn't, should I?
So when she does
Yes.
positions without a requisition, there's not a job. But there is a job with the requisition. What if that's requisition?
You could hire into it if you'd like. It's fine.
Oh,
Basically, you're saying we posted for this job and now we're just gonna hire who we know.
It doesn't show it. What do I do?
Give me 1. I'm so close so that she can. But you can call it out. I'm gonna save right here. You can call out your question if you want. I'm listening. Or did you want to show it to me?
I don't have a hire button.
You don't have a hire button?
No.
Look up a new student. Yeah, go find a new one. Yeah. Again, you would know, and then you would kind of know why your student doesn't have the hire button. Okay. Stacy, yours is created. You're just gonna look for your own name. Okay. It'll be created under you, just to make it easier. Okay. What was your question?
There's no.
Yes.
Under this.
Oh, under the manager review. This is the one we sent you. No, the wrong.
Yes. Correct. We need to
Sorry.
stage it. So I'll circle you to the next one too.
I'll be right back.
Okay, who are you talking to?
position for this hiring then.
Lauren,
Yes.
who are you working on?
This is when she was assigned,
Oh, okay.
so, but she's not seeing it.
I think it's because of that. I give that to the wrong job. People see that. I'm actually glad that.
Yes.
When I go to fill a vacant.
Did you refresh the whole thing? Are you seeing the position underneath you? Go look for it in the org chart and see if you can see it. Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody's searching for like A, and they're doing Adam, Emily.
Ooh, maybe scroll down so we're not doing the same ones. What kind of air, what does the air say?
I'm in the T's.
You're in the T's. Oh, let's go look.
That might have been
I don't
okay. I don't either. Okay, there you are. I'm like, where were you sitting? Okay. You should have it.
No, you're not the first one. So in Fields and Workday, click enter,
Oh,
search
you went,
bar.
if you found one,
No, it's me.
right? Yeah, see, it's not coming through. So.
Should I go back to the report to find it?
This one's fine. Oh, no, maybe mine's just taking under the higher student report. And then just
Yes.
Hey, look, there's a bunch.
Submit for this.
Okay, so just pick one of them, and then let's see if it'll let you guys. Do you?
Yeah, we are.
Because your position is in the student one.
Yeah, I've certainly.
So your position can't change. Yeah, we need to create one. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm almost done creating hers, and then I'll create yours. Okay.
Student worker.
Or we should like mass create them because they're under different people.
It's a higher student.
It was only what was there, right?
Yes,
I
it was what was on screen.
didn't type anything in, I selected what I thought.
Yes, because it was under you already, and it went for your position.
Okay.
Okay, Delsa, I'm coming back. Delsa and Nancy.
You have to X out of all of this. Yep. And then provide me your list.
By the end of like today, you'll be like, I know exactly what this is. Well, the meeting we're like, sit down.
I know. I've only been in this the pebble room. No, we appreciate you coming in. Yeah, I bet you weren't on our list. Like, I'm gonna fact check our list. We've been, as you saw, getting security right, getting our list right. But it's not too hard to create now. Okay. You should be good. You're gonna have to refresh it all. Hopefully you have your student's name, but now there's a position created underneath you. Okay, so, okay, anyone else need a position, question?
Hard rate increase. I don't know like how to play it.
Everyone's good over here? You're able to find a student. Okay. Everyone's good over here?
Elsa.
Okay, we're just gonna take a couple more minutes to let the people who are creating positions for catch up.
Okay, good.
What's the difference in these?
We're just supposed to do 3.1, right?
Yep, just 3.1. I read it, then we're gonna talk about 3.2 and 3.3. We'll go from there. Oh, these all have nuts. These are nuggets.
You can probably hear me now, starting talking about the chocolate.
Three of them have nuts and one has. Listen to Nettie. I think that was good.
I'm switching
Yeah,
my.
maybe I'll have some chocolate after we finish.
That
I was just looking. Oh, I do. Dark chocolate. Special diet.
my favorite.
Okay, those people who are still working on how we're doing. Get in there? Okay.
This is a trust.
Yeah, that move workers, high supervisors, yes, and I can demo that if you guys want to see it. We can do that at the end. So they are, I don't know how to determine how many. They're gonna have a seat for everyone who's current, obviously, and then they're creating extras for students. I know they're creating like more. I don't know exactly. The position, but I see that this
Great today.
I think there's a lot more flexibility. Okay, let's move on to the next one so we can finish these. Yes. Let me look at it after this one. We were on the car and I said, that's the same error you got. Yeah. And I've gotten that error before, so I need to look at it. Okay. All right, let's move on to, we just have a couple slides and then we're going to talk about change org assignments. And then we're going to do that one. So that was the big one, finding a student, so finding the org, so thanks for being patient. Okay, so you all should have gotten to that point, and if you didn't, I will come walk around and make sure we get there, to change organizations' assignments for workers. So you can either just open it from right there, or you can navigate back to your inbox. Usually you would just continue moving forward until you hired the student. But you would just review the organization details. These fields, a lot of them are not editable. And organization's assignments are going to populate based on the position. So they're coming from the position, that's that cost center, that hiring office. If you see something funky, it's probably because we put it in on the position today, but they would need to be updated on the position. So you're just reviewing those, making sure they're correct. And then, oh, sorry, I'm not talking about the cost center right now, excuse me. I'm talking about the effective date and the position. If you wanted to, you guys do have the security to edit the organization assignments. They are coming over from the position, but you would edit those as needed. Some people don't. I think we've seen it where you can't edit those. You can here. So you could change the cost center. You wouldn't change the hiring office. It's still going to be student, but you could update it as you needed to here. I'm sorry, excuse me about that. Okay, so you're going to make sure you pay particular attention to the cost center and the hiring office to ensure payroll and approvals are routed correctly here. Does that make sense?
Lauren,
Yes.
So Max manager submits, so a manager submits this hire, and then the ops specialist will get to approve, like the cost center, is that what I'm hearing?
Or the manager,
I don't know what the manager is doing.
The manager, sorry.
We want the ops specialist.
It is whoever initiated it. Whoever initiated gets this inbox next, item next.
Okay.
It's connected to whoever initiated. So
Okay, that's good to know.
ops
Okay.
specialist initiated it, going to you. Manager initiated, it's going to them. They can, but it's all going to fill in for them. It's only if they need to edit it. They're just reviewing it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is good that we have this option that we can change the cost center.
Yes. I know some security you cannot, and in some things you can't change it. So that's why I was thinking you could.
Okay.
You can't change the soup org or the position, but you can change the cost center,
Okay.
program fund, all of that. Okay, so let's do that. Let's assign organizations. I'm going to pull up Workday really fast. So give me 1 second. So I left off. Oop, I was creating positions as someone else. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go hop back in as Max. Okay, so yes, I was hiring Lauren Miller. So my change organization assignment task pops up. I'm reviewing everything. Ooh, I'm the manager. This is good. I can change the cost center. I can't change anything else. I can't change the hiring office. I'm in as a manager. You guys can take a look and see what you can change, but depending on security, you can only change certain things. Okay, I'm going to review all of this. It all looks good to me. Student hiring office, the cost center is correct, and I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And then I'm going to get another task after that, but we'll just go to there. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Okay, this is activity 3.2, change organization assignments. We'll go to there. This one will be a lot quicker, so we'll just do like 5 minutes. I'm going to come walk around and help those people. Let's see what you guys can see.
It's based on. Oh, just look at the probably not.
Higher. So whenever I push that, it doesn't let me.
There's no position. So what, remind me which supervisory organization, what's your business name?
Holly, yeah, Kim Clark is what you told me.
Yes. You're not under Kim Clark.
How do I get it under Kim Clark?
So if we cancel, I'm like, well, that's the first reason. Click this link. So it'll take you right back to the student page. Nathan Conrad doesn't have a hire button. So
They did.
So someone must have used Nathan Conrad. So let's click hire student by name search. We'll go back and do it. 26,000 students.
Expenses.
This simplified search is kind of interesting. Workday went to a complicated search, and then people said, "Oh, so now they made a button that they like it."
I don't know if that's going to be turned on and go live.
Yeah, that's
It's
very
only because
interesting.
we're a preview tenant.
We're
So
a
we're getting
preview
a new
tenant that
update.
turns everything on until we decide.
I know, I just am like, turn off your preview search.
Type in student. Whichever spelling you prefer. You like it, just spell it. Okay, now under supervisory organization, you need to change it, hit enter, sorry.
Yeah.
So let's find a Stephen Benny, it's fine. And that's, you're saying, I want to hire a student under me. I want you to. So we'll put them under whoever. So you were supposed to hire under who?
Kim Clark.
Kim Clark. So you just type Clark and search.
Okay. Type in now, refresh it, and see if they're in your inbox.
Hit enter. These fields you always have to hit enter.
Why?
Because it
Why?
could be, Workday stops at like 300 results, so it'll load through.
Something's wrong with the student employment eligibility. So it's getting routed to different offices for approval. I don't know why it skipped those steps.
There you go.
There.
Click OK, and now it should.
This is interesting.
Hallelujah.
Hers went over there, went to student employment eligibility. It's saying her proposed comp in her assigned organizations was in progress, but then I found it in eligibility.
Yeah. The student employment eligibility is so Annalisa really gets that, only if we've created a position. So maybe they're offering this. Is that everybody or just?
No, just her.
Okay.
You guys were all able to add your org assignments, right? You're good? No? I need help.
Okay.
Okay, we'll come out.
I'll come take you. Maybe we missed a step.
Are you guys able to, you guys have been able to assign org assignments like I showed?
Yep.
Yes?
You don't want to do this now?
I do. That'll be the next one once you submit that. Oh, proposed comp hire. I haven't done that. You already did it. Okay. I'm quickly just going to go over the next slides and then we'll just wrap it up because we kind of broke it up into sections between tasks. You would do this at one time, so I'm just going to finish so then we can all just finish. So this one would be, so we can finish direct hiring the student. This one's activity 3.3. Okay, so really fast and then we'll finish up because I know you guys are getting to this one. Proposed comp hire. This is when they're going to propose the compensation, the manager or the operations specialist, whoever initiated it. So we are going to see the total base pay populate because we're hiring a student and it's coming with defaulting grade and pay ranges. So you're going to update, so you're going to see that total base pay range and then you're going to update the hourly amount to match the experience level of the hire. Okay, because they're student positions, it's coming from that job profile, and that job profile really does define what the compensation is. So let's go take a look at that, and then you guys can all finish, and then we'll be done with this activity. We're moving on to onboarding next. So I'm gonna go, oops, give me 1 second, back to Max Manager. This should be the next task you have. Okay, give me 1 sec. Okay, so Max will have an inbox task to propose compensation hire for Lauren. So he goes in here and he's able to see this assignment details coming over for an hourly plan. He's able to change it if he would like to update this, the compensation, but he is seeing that total base come over from the position and job profile. And then he would just go ahead and submit it. Okay, any questions before I submit? Okay, go ahead and finish activity 3.3, and then we will move on from there. So if you haven't caught up, this is where you can catch up on all of them, and then we'll move on. Okay. Whoever here is anyone beginning to propose comp hire, let me know. Okay, everyone over here, okay, they will, you can try it again.
Look at the students and see what they trust
We're all good over here.
somewhere over.
Oh, good. You're all caught up? Okay, great. You're all caught up? Everyone's caught up? Okay, we're gonna go a little bit farther and then we'll take like an official break. Everyone's caught up over here? Any questions? Okay, where's Jackie? Where's Were you able to find it or did it just? So it's in inbox. That's just when you're searching for change order assignments. It should just come as an inbox task. Oh yeah, you did okay. You're good. You might have just.
Yeah.
As far as when these are changed, maybe it's right now. Is there still another level of people?
It goes to student eligibility.
So when they go through, managers for students who do
So that's where you have to control those positions by taking them out. If you're not serving, you have to hold them higher and not put in the department budget and make sure all they just start hiring. But it will affect the managers, right? Like, correct? They should hopefully be aware of their department budget and make sure they're hiring correctly to meet that need and not go over their budget, but it does not. So yes, I would maybe come up with kind of talk with your business partner how you're going to handle that. And that's why I know that is like. And do you hire them all now? So you can just see that in the position by hire. Or you could start training. Hey, come to me. We can help you initiate this as soon as you can. It's giving a little bit more power to managers.
This is fine.
Yeah, I want to make sure you're within department budget. Okay, great questions. Okay, let's move on, and then we will take an official break in a minute. Okay, so once you submitted it, so you went ahead and you clicked submit. It's now going to the student hiring office or the Unified Operations Center, and they are going to review the student's eligibility. That's what we talked about, making sure they have enough credit hours, making sure they can work and are authorized to work. If the student, so they get an inbox task, making sure they are good to go. If the student does update their eligibility, it will remove the inbox item from them if they go ahead and fix whatever the problem is on their own. And the hire will continue to move forward, but it will stay there until it's fixed. I think it's fixed in like 24 hours at the end of the day. So if a student's like, oh, I went and fixed it, it's not going to be like immediate workday. So if they go to the student hiring office and say, hey, fixed it, it might take a second for it to be removed from their inbox. Okay, any questions about hiring, direct hiring students? I know we're going to talk more with change job, and we have some questions we're going to get answered, but any more questions before we move on to onboarding? Okay, awesome. I think now's a good time for an official break. Now's a good time for an official break before we move on to onboarding. So let's take, let's do 10 minutes, because we've been kind of hanging. Let's do 10 minutes and we'll meet back here, so at like 2:10. I'll put a timer up. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being patient as we figure this all out. Get everything working. We have water, snacks.
This is fun and summary. There's hot weather.
Mostly, I was gonna just.
Can you hear me?
Oh, right. I've gotten a lot quieter like that. Let's see if I can do it exactly the same way again. They knew whether it was fake or not.
I did finish that
That it wasn't fake because that's sort of beautiful.
Art. Did you start to start your sinuses, or was it? Mine started here.
I started my nose. Like, and my annual physical with my doctor on Thursday, but I just like to talk about in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's gonna be fun. Every day I go to the paper to the place to talk to someone.
Which is how it's supposed to work, right? Yeah, first aid is there is there going to be hours?
I always survey neighboring dishwasher. I don't like the eggs because I don't drink stuff. So I've only traded one for you.
Checks out.
I'm not a huge fan of mushrooms, but one time we decided to buy vitamins and talking mushrooms and coffee. And he pulled it out because it was a tree in my tree, like water. So that entire year, like 4 years later, finally had to help with water. Because that's how things are right now. They don't get used to those. Throw them in a bag, you throw them in the freezer, like 2 days later. And then you can pull them out when you do actually have to.
I'm sorry, I'm just. See, and then okay, like it's that one, I don't mind. I've only exchanged emails with you since you can difference and. I know, but this, late at night, you still have one that was like, that's all. Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm doing great.
Do you know that we have one more person
I knew that was happening,
Yeah,
but I didn't know
She's
who.
started today.
Today?
Yeah, her name is Shelly.
Shelley.
Yeah, she started time.
And where was she?
She
have her own office?
Yeah, she has.
I was gonna phone yesterday and ask her if
Because I just like, I was worried about yeah, first bit. Did it talk with 3 or a lot?
She was still like really, I mean, but it's still like her to do that. And I still really work for like, they were like proud and all over the place. And I was like, have to go to home. Well, I knew that then like actually on that
Very, yeah.
Often with my consolation is, which I knew at that point, like, well, I'm showing everyone.
Oh,
So I was like, we actually put it on.
Yeah,
Somebody in
you-
BCC pointing at the sun.
Yeah. Maybe some students, because another day off. What was the schedule card, like the credit card for you, might have to say, okay, you close it. Yeah, what's the Greek?
Oh, the Texas.
The Texas, like, the only of them. Yeah, probably they said, I just say, because sometimes some clubs come and you say, for credit card, and you send them for. But
You still have your regular floors like, you still have your
yeah,
regular job to do, right? So it's like, you're still supposed to hang all the
I have actually, yeah. It is just
But then
the most
they now
report.
fill up half of my.
You don't have that.
Yeah.
You
On
can
top of that,
see
you're like,
but and I can see it.
we would just go ahead and like navigate that. That added, I think, 100. Yeah, which like is
I don't think I get chocolate.
I don't think I brought chocolate.
See how we work today. Oh my God, 2 months? I have 2 months to learn everything.
This is gonna be so much fun, like in your years, we're gonna look back.
Yes,
and all of us. It'll be so great. We love it. Yeah. We might figure out.
Sometimes you go to I have this sweet special, that's it.
Oh, I'm like, I only eat dark chocolate.
I wanted that. Mildly sweet special dark. Oh my gosh.
We're like, whatever we can have, we're keeping it on. I'm not for your report because you don't mind.
Pre-approval.
Right, they all look gold, gold, gold. Is it the range? Oh, this is the special. Are you trying to find that one? I like dark though. I'm colorblind, so this exercise is like for sure. I did go home for about 8 hours. I fell asleep and I woke up and drove. That was all. We, from the Celtic to the. So we drove down. Because I was and we have that.
I'll probably go next
TC.
We already had a passport. Get it back. Yeah. They got
Well, you could work here.
just barely got back in.
Okay, awesome. Everyone got some water and a snack. Let's talk about onboarding. Okay, so each of you should be seeing inbox items for onboarding, and we're gonna talk about onboarding, and then we're gonna walk through those just so we can kind of get you set up before. Is anyone not seeing those inbox items? You have nothing in your inbox. So this is gonna come grab your name, so it's set up for you once we get there.
Oh, I might have them now.
You have them now? Perfect. It's just supposed to say, like, I think you have a personal information change, you have an edit government IDs, an I-9. That's not the first thing we're gonna do, so no worries. Okay. All right, let Spence know, call him over. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, the difference between hire and onboarding, but in hire, they're assigned a compensation, they, all their contracts are signed, and then we do set up onboarding for them. And then there are waves of onboarding that come. There are 3 waves with different tasks that come to their inbox. Some things like the I-9 or updating their personal information come to their inbox. All right. Okay, so these are our waves of onboarding. And we're going to talk about each of these waves more in depth as we go through the presentation. But you can see in the first wave, we have update worker profile, like personal information, home contact, government IDs. They sign some agreements or they review and say, I agree to like dress and grooming. There's an international student orientation video that will come to them if they're an international student. In wave 2, they're going to complete their I-9. This is not all of them, these are just some of them. They're going to do some voluntary government like disclosures and forms, like their self-identification, disability, veteran. They do their payroll forms for the payment elections. And then in wave 3, there'll be more tasks that come, like emergency contacts, new employee orientation, things like that. I would like to preface, we're not going to see all of them today. Like I mentioned, we launched onboarding for you all, but you're not new hires. So it's not going to give you everything, but it's going to give you a good glimpse of what they're seeing. Okay. So as the manager, I'm going to set up onboarding. So as Max manager, I'm going to go in, set up onboarding for this new hire, for this employee. You can share a welcome message with them. You can share special select people to meet. So we're saying, welcome, we're excited for you to be part of our team. Some of this is gonna kind of auto-populate for them, but you can change it and edit it saying, hey, go meet Cosmo, go meet Cami, they're in your organization, here's some helpful contacts for you to meet, and they're gonna submit this. The manager's gonna set up onboarding.
How many of you got this task in your inbox because you are also the manager of this person? I saw a couple getting the onboarding set up to their inbox directly. So maybe a few of you had this. That was only in the case that you were also the manager of the person we just hired.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
If you didn't, it's okay. That's why we put it on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You have an open position, you can go practice. Or we can set one up for you if you want to see it as a manager, if you are a manager. Okay, the manager and the primary recruiter can see an onboarding status summary. So they're going to be able to check on the status of the onboarding for the employee by running the onboarding status summary report. So you can see their progress, what's still in progress for them, so you can go check in on their I-9 and things like that. You can see what they've completed and other important information. So we're going to take a look at this as well in the tenant. But these are definitely very helpful tools to kind of see where they're at. So I'm going to go set up onboarding for Captain America, and then we're going to go take a look at the status. So give me a second while I pull that up. Okay. So if for some reason you were the manager, you're more than welcome to follow along. But I am hopped in as Max manager. I'm logged in as him. So he gets an inbox task called onboarding setup for hire, Captain America. So we left off, we kind of transitioned to direct hire. We did leave off with pushing him through the hire process right at the very beginning, Captain America. So now we're back to that story. He's ready for onboarding to be set up, Captain America is. So the manager would open this, here's the message, it pulls up for them. So if they don't want to change this, they don't need to. They can go put in their own message though and put in other things that they would like to say. Some managers will probably really love this and can, customize it and say things. Others might just keep this nice message that comes in. So we're excited that you're now part of our team. During your first week, please take some time to meet with the people listed below. So he can go in and add some people to meet. I of course will add Cosmo. Go meet Cosmo. Here's some helpful contacts for you that are coming over. You can remove and add these, and then he'll go ahead and submit this. Any questions before I submit? I'm just demoing. Most of you won't have this inbox task. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this.
Is there a way to set up like a template so that just all the information will come in and they just have to click submit? Or
That's
is it
exactly
still-
what it is.
Or will they have to actually go into the setup screen though for it to be sent?
They will have to push past this task, but it should be set up with what is based off the department, pulling over that information.
Yeah, I just confirmed, this will stop the employees onboarding. So if the manager does not complete this task in Workday, it will halt all the other onboarding steps that we completed. Okay, so when you're looking at the process history and you see that it's awaiting action from the person's manager, this is a time to make a phone call and say, hey, some pre-populated information's there. If you don't want to add anything extra, just click submit and it'll move on so they can complete onboarding. Okay, that's a change. It's required in Workday.
It is. Okay, so now I can see up next is Captain America. Onboarding for him, personal information change is the first one. So now he gets those inbox items that you are all seeing. He did not have them before. We staged them beforehand for you guys. Okay. The second thing we're gonna go do is view the onboarding status summary of the employees we support. So I'm gonna go look at his status, even though I know he hasn't done anything, which is totally fine. Just so you guys can see this. And we're gonna take a look at this throughout the process. So I typed onboarding status summary. I'm gonna click on this report. I can put in the supervisory organization, so I'm gonna put in Max Manager. This is where you would type in maybe the manager of another department or another supervisory organization. Sorry, not department, supervisory organization or area. And we can see there's a lot going on, but I can see Captain America right here. He's 0% complete. He needs to do edit government IDs, home contact change, legal name change, all this other information. I can see phone and email as well. So this is where you would go to see the status. All right, so we will keep coming back to this as we complete some of the tasks in Workday. Okay, so that's kind of the view as the manager or the HR operations specialist, what you can see. The employee has an onboarding dashboard where they're going to get all of this nice information that we just talked about in a very pretty view. So they're going to get a little message from President Reese. There's one from David Tuller saying something, welcome to BYU. It has those helpful contacts we added. It's got a message from their manager. It's got the people to meet all coming over from what the manager selected. If they leave it, it'll just still come over from what auto-populated. There's some additional resources here, like the campus map, UTA at BYU. There's some training that's already coming up. But as you know, when we talked about this, they're going to focus on these getting started inbox tasks that they have. Okay, they need to complete these first. There's 5 that are ready. You can see it right here. 5 are ready, 0% progress. So the new hire could go in here and look at their onboarding dashboard to see where they're at in the process of onboarding. Okay, so I'm gonna go hop in and view the onboarding dashboard really fast as Captain America. And you guys can as well. So you can follow along with me and you'll be able to go back to this too. We're showing you this at the beginning so we can go back throughout and you can see your progress because now you're pretending you're a new hire and you're completing your onboarding. So you can see your own progress as yourself and see where things are. Okay, so we're kind of giving you a glimpse into what a new hire will see. All right, so in the search bar, we're going to search, let's look, actually, I'm just going to search onboarding. So I'm going to search onboarding and just click enter. And this is activity 3.4. We'll give you a couple minutes after. And I'm just going to open up this onboarding report. Okay, so this is what we were just looking at the screenshot of. So, oh, that's okay. I didn't hop over to Captain America. He would have a progress tracker. That's okay, we'll do it in a minute. So we can see our message from President Reese, all those things that we said from my manager, helpful contacts, getting started. Are you guys all able to see that? Okay, awesome. As we make progress on our onboarding tasks, our tasks will go from ready to completed. We'll see that. Okay, I'm gonna go log in. I forgot to hop over as Captain America to see his status. That's what I'm gonna stay as. I'm the manager. So I'm seeing Max Manager's onboarding. He's done with onboarding. He doesn't have any. That's why I'm not seeing any. So you guys can do activity 3.4. We'll just do a couple minutes, view the onboarding dashboard. You can click around, explore it, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, now you can see I have 5 things, and I have my message from Max coming in because I'm now Captain America. So this is the view the employee sees. If you want to see progress, you go look up the other report and look up the organization. That's the tool you'll use. I don't know how long we want you to launch tasks for. No, let's launch it. What's your name? What's your last name? Okay, Nancy. Okay, I'll go launch it. No worries. Same with you guys. If you're seeing 0, you have no tasks, that means we need to launch onboarding for you. Just let us know.
Are we supposed to go in and just like click through and like
Yeah, you
change
can
these
just
government IDs? And things like
We're
that?
gonna do that in just 1 second. You're just viewing the onboarding dashboard. It's like super simple. Take a look at it. You can also view the other report I showed you, if you'd like. Well, I launched this and then we'll get started. You can also view onboarding status summary if you want to do that one. I pulled that one up on the screen. And you can put in the supervisory organization and see if anyone has onboarding in progress. You might not.
So that's the summary report is for primary recruiters and the managers.
Yes.
I have some non-specials and specials from the school area. I'm sure Darren helps out.
So we can test it out.
The other question I had is on the recruiting, there's a recruiting dashboard. Some information on this. Is there an onboard dashboard or is this the only? Yeah.
As who? The employee or the
No, not
the
the
ops?
employee, that's the backside of things where we're trying to
This is,
see.
yeah, you don't get that free view.
Um,
You get this view for them. Yeah.
Super helpful. Is the recruiting, an actual dashboard.
Oh, wait, for recruiting or for onboarding?
Well, I know there's one for recruiting,
Mhm.
but there's not, putting some things which
Yeah,
I
you
really
could.
want to see that's a place.
Yeah.
For onboarding as well.
Yes, it transitions to the onboarding status. That's where you go look. So once they're hired, recruiting is over, so that's why it's not in one. It is the same place.
And what I'm saying, it'd be nice if there were
2.
well, at least 2, just so it's all easier to see. Right? A report is a report, it's a long thing, it's a lot harder to read. The quick view that we get with the recruiting dashboard. Nice if we did a dashboard for the onboarding side of things, so that we can quickly see
Like an
where people are.
application.
Quickly see where people are onboarding, because
Yes.
that is also a big process,
Yes.
just like recruiting is, onboarding is also.
Yes, right now I don't think there's an application set up, but I was when we reviewed it, this was not, there was something missing, because we were That's a good question, good point, that's not things. Okay, let me, sorry, I got distracted. Thank you. Okay. You probably saw everything in onboarding.
On the onboarding, this is mainly for staff and faculty, is that right? Or is it
And
for
students
as well?
Mhm.
So-
They're gonna get different tasks.
Sure. So do we have a way to see where they are in their progress as ops specialists, not as their manager?
You were just asking that, yes. I'm pretty sure this report will run, so this is for the employees view, it's this one, onboarding status summary. That's what you'll run as the manager and we have primary recruiter. We'll double check the security. Let me just check right now to make sure ops can see this for other people. But this is the tool that's up on the board that you're going to use the most to check on progress. Like you won't be looking at, we're just showing you the feature on the other pretty looking one. The feature that the new employee sees, this is what you'll be using to check up on their status. They're wishing for a prettier view of the onboarding status summary. I know. Okay, let's see. They're wondering too if ops specialists, I'm checking on it, not just managers and primary recruiters, can look at the status of any other employee. And I'm checking. I am seeing HR operations specialist on here, and I'm seeing business partner. Yep, okay. You should be able to see it. You should be able to type in the supervisory organization and pull up the onboarding status summary for those in that soup org and be able to check in it as the ops specialist. Okay, so let's start going through those waves. And then we can use these tools again to kind of check the status, the onboarding status summary. Okay, so, let's talk about wave 1. So in wave 1, and we've talked about this, there's going to be a couple different things that they do. You're seeing this in your inbox. Faculty will have faculty agreements or period activity pay contracts, same with adjuncts. They'll fill out their employee profile, they have some agreements come to them, government ID and legal name, and then they schedule their I-9 appointment in wave 1, and they complete their I-9 in wave 2. So there's a link to go schedule it in wave 1 that comes to them. So we're kind of just go through these quickly. Home contact change. The employee's going to enter their home contact information here, okay? We're going to walk through all of these. I'll pull them all up and then you can follow along, and then we'll give you time to complete all of these inbox tasks. Then the next one they get is a personal information change. This is where they can enter their date of birth, their age, their marital status, all of that information here. Next is edit government IDs. So the employee they'll have the option, they need to enter in their number, so they're for their social security, they'll enter in their social security number. There's a bunch of instructional text on this slide that we have circled that's in the task, so you'll see it when you opened it. They will enter it. They do not have to attach a copy of their social security card if they don't want to, but this is the easiest way. If they do attach a copy of it and submit it, they don't need to bring it in. If not, they can bring it in when they do their I-9 to validate the name and number on their social security card. But it will give them a soft alert in orange saying, hey, attach a document. But again, some people will not attach it and they do not have to, so they don't have to here. So it's saying if you prefer not to upload a copy, bring your social security card to the HR operations center to validate the number and name on your card within the first 30 days of employment. If you do not have a social security card, you can skip this step by clicking submit a couple of times. So yeah, you just have to click submit. So if it gives you that problem, you probably don't want to attach anything right now. Just click submit. I'll let you pass it when I'm practicing. All right, and then they get this review documents inbox task. They're going to review dress and grooming, church education system honor code, the personal conduct history, and overtime calculation agreement. You can click through those when we do our activity if you'd like to see what those are. I'm assuming you guys are probably familiar with some of these things. And then the last thing they'll do is they'll schedule their I-9 appointment. So they're going to receive an inbox task to schedule the I-9 with the link provided. Like we mentioned, it says schedule an appointment using this link. The task gives them instructions for them to bring their accepted documents to the appointment. So you can read all of those instructions when we do the activity. It's saying they need to be unexpired originals, not copies. And there is also a link to the accepted documents provided in this task. So they'll get all the information they need here to schedule their I-9 to make sure that goes smoothly. So that is wave 1. So let's review what's going on in wave 1. I'm going to kind of breeze through these and I'm going to give you time to push through them. If you are a new hire or for some reason things didn't come over, you might have to put in more information than your neighbors. Just see what it gives you an error on. The whole point of this is for you to see. It doesn't need to be accurate. If you're like, oh, my home contact information's changed, I've moved. If you update it here, it won't update it at Go Live. So this is just to see you aren't actually updating anything in the system for yourself. Sorry about that. So you can update things if you want to practice, but you can also just push through these. We just want you to see the tasks coming through. Yes. Any questions? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go hop over as Captain America, and then we will do, I think it's activity 3.5. Okay, so I am logged into him, and he's got a bunch of inbox tasks, and you guys should see these as well. I'll run through them, and then you'll have time to push through these. So I'm going to probably have a couple more things to add just because I'm actually a new hire. So I have my change home contact information. It is pulling over from what I added in my resume and on my candidate profile. My address is here, my phone, and my email are all here. Okay, that's awesome. So I'll submit that. I don't need to change anything. Okay. Then I have my personal information change. Okay, so it's got a couple things. It doesn't have my birthday. It doesn't have my religion or citizenship. So if it's missing for you, go in and fill that in. So I'm going to do that in a minute. I'll go fill this in when you guys are working on it. Edit government IDs. Okay, this is where I have all that instructional text we was talking about. So it's saying I need to add a social security card. So I'll just go in and add one here. Again, you can add a fake number in here for today. If you add just like a very fake number, it will give you an error. So, alrighty. So we'll all do that. Then it has all the review documents. So you'll just go take a look and you'll say, I agree to all of these documents. And then I'll submit this. And then, oops, it wants me to submit. So I'll submit that. And then it has my I-9 completion. Okay, so it's saying I need to go schedule my appointment. I actually don't do anything on this one because I'm scheduling an appointment with a link. So once I did it, you can click on this link if you like. I think it's working. I'd go ahead and submit this as well. Once you submit all of these, wave 2 comes to your inbox. So I will give you all a couple of minutes, 5 minutes or so, to do wave 1 of onboarding to finish all of those, which is activity 3.5. It has instructions for all of them. So if you're running into problems, look here, call us over if it's giving you errors. Yeah, you can see with edit government IDs, I'm just able to push past if I hit submit twice. So if you don't want to fill it in, if it's not coming over, just hit submit twice. Okay, and then we'll just wait here. You won't move forward past those inbox items. So I'll pull the slides back up. We have a big notice. Don't continue past wave 1. You can just keep going through them. Okay, how's that going for everyone? You guys were able to do wave 1 and wave 2? I know, these are easy to go through. Wave 1, doing good, we're done over here. You know what tasks? Oh, sorry.
What is that?
Oh, tasks. Have you initiated onboarding for them? Sorry. Are you getting errors? Sorry, we're gonna get more errors than others.
And I didn't hit that. Yeah. I don't know. It was in my inbox.
I'm good.
You guys all good over here? You did wave 1? Okay, cool. Go look at your onboarding dashboard if you're waiting. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Is there a way that I can delete this higher? Yeah.
Delete incomplete. So here comes how you delete things from your inbox. I know, because you're like, oh, it's orange and it's like, and then you have to go for a reason, right? Sometimes it makes you put a comment in. If you delegate it, it makes you put a comment sometimes too. Okay, so I want to see my onboarding dashboard because I'm in as an employee who was just hired. So if I go look at my onboarding report now, I can see I have 5 completed tasks, 4 are ready. If I was to, oopsies, proxy in as Max Manager, and I run the other report, I can see where he's at. So let's go take a look, because Max Manager is his manager while people are finishing up these last waves. If I was to do the onboarding status summary report, I would go select my org. This is where you could select someone else's. And I can see Captain America is now 56% complete. What's he complete? He's got, okay, complete Form I-9. That's what we're waiting on. Payment, election, enrollment. So definitely helpful tools. Okay, I'm going to move forward onto wave 2 so we can keep things moving. And for those of you, you'll have time to catch up. It doesn't take too long to push through these. Okay, so wave 2. Wave 2, completing their I-9. That's when they're going to go in. They'll have the inbox test. They'll complete it at their appointment. We have payment elections, state and local tax withholdings, our federal tax withholdings, disability self-identification, and veteran status identification in wave 2. I have just a report of our onboarding dashboard. The employee can view the onboarding dashboard to see their own progress. So this is where we're at. 5 are completed, 3 are ready. Okay, so complete Form I-9 comes to their inbox. The HR Operations Centers or student hiring offices will be able to answer questions about their I-9, so you'll still point them there for information, but they will go in and fill this in, specifically students at the student hiring office or the Operations Center. We'll take a look at what that looks like. Just a quick reminder, you can view the status of new hires I-9 through the onboarding status summary report, the one we just looked at. They do their payment election enrollment, so the employee will fill out their payment elections. If you don't have this, I'll come help you. I have a fake routing number and bank number because it's going to make you put one in. All right, I'll pop it up there so we can put in fake stuff. And then veteran status identification, they're going to fill this form out for their veteran status. And then disability self-identification. They'll fill out this form as well and enter their selections. Okay, let's go take a look at onboarding wave 2. So I now have all these tasks in my inbox. You're welcome to kind of follow along with me as I walk through them. This is activity 3.6. So This is where I have my complete form I-9 for employment eligibility verification. Are you guys getting this one as well?
No.
Yeah, you're not. I thought so, because you are employees. So I'm getting this because I'm a new hire. This is what it's going to look like, so you can take a closer look here. So it has section 1, employee information. They would take this in, they would help them fill this out, because I know that's what they do currently to make sure they fill it in correctly. So they could take in their computer or wherever they're going to fill this out, fill it out in there. Is this, can they do this on their mobile device, Spence? This one? I feel like I remember them mentioning the students can bring their phones in and fill this out on their phones.
I'll check to see if it's enabled for.
We're going to check to see if it's enabled, because that'd be kind of cool. You can tell the students to bring their phones in. They don't even have to bring their computer. So all of my information is getting filled in. There's a spot for the social. I'm a citizen. Awesome. Okay, I would sign it. I would answer all these questions. Does anyone want to see a closer look at the I-9 form? Again, this is student hiring offices. I'm doing that right?
This is the current student employment.
Yes, student, I mean, it's not hiring,
be
it's
called
student
something
employment,
else.
thank you. No, it'll be student employment. The student employment offices will help them fill this out. Thank you. Okay, then I'll go in and fill this out when you guys are working. This is where you'll enter your payment election. It is requiring it. So again, call me over. I have a fake routing number. You'll just go ahead and submit this if it's pulling over. If you're a worker and employee. They have veteran status identification. Well, they'll select their veteran status, and same with disability. Any questions about wave 2? Okay, go ahead and do wave 2, activity 3.6. We'll take a couple minutes.
Is enabled from.
It is. That's what I was like. I remember them saying that. It is enabled from mobile, so you can tell them they can take their phones in, fill it out in the student employment office. So I'm gonna go fill mine out. Once they fill in their payment elections, this is what it'll look like. So I entered mine. It looks like yours. I'm able to submit it. Okay, and then we'll stop before we go to wave 3. We'll talk about wave 3 and we'll do it all together. So I'll give you all a couple minutes, cross over if you need help. If anyone else is also curious, once I submitted my I-9, it does go to an I-9 partner for them to review. So if there is a review, they do have to review it before they get the next wave. You guys aren't seeing this. So she's going to go through, look at their I-9, make sure it's all good, and then she'll approve it. Awesome. They also enter their first date of employment here, so they could enter, make sure it's entered correctly. Okay, does anyone need any more time? Okay, awesome. Let's move on to wave 3. I was pushing through the I-9, so there is validations. So it goes through the normal validations. So if that's taking a minute, you might see it go to 2 places. There's the I-9 approver and the I-9 validator, and they both have to be approved before the employee gets wave 3. But once their I-9 is approved, they can start working, and they can work on wave 3 later. So as they're starting their job, this is stuff like reviewing more documents, changing emergency contacts. So they really just need to finish wave 2, get their I-9 all done, and then they're good to start working. In wave 3, there's going to be things like the new employee orientation that they'll get. Their I-9's approved now, so now they'll get new employee orientation. They can get their ID card, complete some assigned trainings. That's when you can go in and assign them trainings that you want for your department or for their job through Workday Learning. They'll change their emergency contacts. They're going to sign, or they're going to agree to a document called conflict of time and interest. They can set up parking and then moving allowances for faculty. All right, so if we took a look at our onboarding dashboard, they would see that they've completed 8 and they have a couple ready, depending on where they're at and how many they get. I think you guys will just have 2. I might have a few more as a new hire. Okay, so the ones that you're going to see, the employer will view the conflict of time and interest document. They'll just hit I agree after they reviewed it and submit it. And then the employee will add their emergency contacts in here. They'll go in, add their emergency contacts. Okay, let's go hop in. Let's see if I say a little bit more, and then you guys will do onboarding wave 3, which is activity 3.7. So let me pull up the tenant. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple more because I'm a new hire. Do I have 6? I think I have 6. Okay, so we'll take a look at these other ones that they're getting that you aren't getting. Okay, I have a complete to do a parking permit. You guys aren't seeing this one, so go to parking.byu.edu. Follow these step-by-step instructions to get your parking permit. So they'll get this once they're hired and they've completed their I-9. Pause me before I click submit because then it's gone. You can't see it again. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. You have this one, review documents, conflict of time and interest. We'll just say I agree here. And they'll submit it. Yes?
If they review it, click the button, but then they do have a conflict and they type it in the notes, where does that go?
It just depends to the additional information on this business process. It won't change anything, they still accepted it. You can't let a commenter void what you said yesterday. And if you say no to any of it, today's your last day.
I don't know if it's a no, it's just like FYI.
Yeah.
Oh, like I do have this conflict of time and it's X, Y, Z.
I'm not sure.
It would move forward and they could call it to your attention. You could look back in the process history. That's the input you want. It wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it wouldn't go to anyone if it's a comment because they pushed it forward. Okay, change emergency contacts. I'll go add those in a second. I think you guys have this one. They'll go add in their emergency contacts. Okay, sign up for new employee orientation. So this is will they'll sign up. requires, this is a full-time staff, so I'm getting all full-time and 3/4-time employees to participate in new employee orientation. This is an opportunity for you to learn about BYU and the resources. Okay, so they'll be able to go sign up. Let's see if I click on these where it takes me. Good setup. There it is. Perfect. Does this look familiar? Is this how you do it currently? Is it through Qualtrics? Or not a Qualtrics, this is Google. Maybe. Okay. I'm not sure if this is exactly what they'll be using, but it looks like it. They'll be able to go in and fill in this information and say, okay, I'm going to do it September 30th, October 14th, all this information. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. We're all good. New employee orientation. Great. They will get an inbox task to go get their ID card. All the information for the ID center is here. Okay. Awesome. So I would go request it. All of it would be here. And then last one, they have change benefits for life event. So they would be able to change their benefits from here, saying let's get started. Most of benefits other than the 403B. So the TIAA, GSRA pre-tax, and Roth. These are the only ones they select in Workday. Everything else is done outside of Workday for benefits still, so they would do all of that outside of Workday. This is the only one that's in Workday, just so you guys' awareness, that they would enroll in. Okay. Any questions about Wave 3? Okay, awesome. I'll give you a few minutes. Complete 3.7. Yes.
Question. So at what point do and where do we add our own unique onboarding tasks for our colleges and departments?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, since she's asking at what point do they add their own unique onboarding tasks for their own colleges and departments?
So these tasks that are delivered are globally configured to go to all candidates, or I'm sorry, all hires upon their hire. If you have additional tasks that you would like them to complete, like fill out the survey for your favorite cookie, we do cookies every Friday, you know, or other more complicated tasks, those are outside of Workday. You can't include them in the system current state. A later state could be that we could configure onboarding by college or by department, but for now, it's starting at a global level.
Yeah. You can assign them learning, though.
You can push specific learning in Workday Learning that you would require a candidate, and you can have that list and send it. But your onboarding checklist will continue. A lot of these that are driven by central HR have been combined and are here.
Yep. I don't think we talk a lot about learning, but you can assign them learning assignments instead of through Absorb. I think that's the current. Is it Absorb?
That's for training.
That's for training. Absorb, everything will be in Workday. Yeah. So all the trainings, you can send it to them in their inbox. But yeah. Department stuff will still be outside.
How do you send those absorbed trainings? Are you sending them a message in Workday, or are you adding it to their own?
I would have to go look at the security of who can, if you have to be like a learning coordinator security role, or you can just assign them as a manager. Let me go look. But if you could come and then
Workday Delivered is your manager.
It's a recurring, I haven't used this in a while. I think it has
no, it's assigned as work, and this is the new learning management system.
How it gets delivered, yes.
Let me go check. You can do that. Hey, I think there's just a few things for you guys to do, right? Are we all done? Anyone still waiting? Okay, let's get out of here. I know we had a question about learning. I'll look it up at the end of this so everyone else, we can wrap up, and then I'll answer that question about learning if anyone else is interested. Okay, let's talk about, so those are our waves of onboarding. Woohoo! Okay, so that is onboarding. That goes to, you know, depending on this employee type, different tasks are going to come to them. So students will receive different things, but that is onboarding and that's what they're going to be receiving. So hopefully that gave you a better glimpse into what employees are receiving. You can help them if they have questions. You've now seen it. You can walk them through it. You can kind of go look at the status and everything. Okay, so let's talk about correcting a worker's start date. We mentioned this at the beginning. This is the HR operations specialist, business partner, or manager that can initiate this task. So if the start date is incorrect, the correct worker start date can be initiated. This will be approved by an HR administrator. It is a pretty simple task. So
Start date or hire date?
start date. Oh, sorry, hire date. I'm sorry. Correct worker start date. That is confusing. Hire date. It's hire date and correct worker start date. It's the hire date. So you can see how, let's take a look at it in the tenant really fast. You can all follow along with me. This is not an activity, but you can follow along. Okay. Okay, so doesn't like that. One sec. I got frozen. 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go hop in as Max Manager, the manager. So I've proxied in as him. Okay. So in the search bar, if they needed to correct the hire date, they would type in correct worker. Ooh, let me make sure. There it is, request. Okay, if you're forgetting what the task is called, just put in part of the phrase. I was typing incorrect. I'm like, oh, this is wrong. Request worker start date, correction. So I just put in start date. It pulled up still. So request worker start date correction if you want to follow along. I'm going to click on this task. I'm going to put in the worker. So I want to change it for Captain America. Okay, I put in Captain America. His current hire date was the 30th, and then I would change the proposed hire date here. I could go say, actually, he was hired on the 7th. And then I would hit submit, and then it would be routed for an HR administrator to review and approve it.
Does that change the start date as well then?
The worker start date is the proposed hire.
Yeah.
So the thing is, right? So the date of hire is not referring to like the date you finished paperwork or some other date. Their start date will not be the
Except there are two fields when you're going through that hire process.
Yeah, the difference is if you were an existing hire, you wouldn't change the original hire date because you choose the start date of this position. So that's the difference. We're showing this candidate whose start date and how many so it's not referring to a different administrator. It's the actual person.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, this is the start.
This is the start.
Yes, yeah, and that's why it auto-populates. You put in the hire date, it auto-populates the start date
Right.
when you're entering it.
Correct.
When you're
But you
hiring.
can change that.
You can't change it.
So
Yeah, it'll populate too. Yeah, it could be.
Okay. Any more questions about request worker start date? Okay. Awesome. Okay. That is everything we had today. A little bit easier than last week. Smoother. Onboarding's fun. Okay, up next though, we have a lot, as you can see. So next week, you're going to cover a lot of topics like compensation change, changing job, allowance plan, reimbursable allowance plan assignments, changing organization assignments, adding additional jobs,
There you go.
title change, editing notice periods, moving to a new manager, severance process, end job and termination. He'll cover voluntary terminations and involuntary terminations. So, lots to look forward to. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for coming. That's all we have for you today. Don't forget to take your check-in survey. The slides, the activity guide, everything will be on the training hub.